Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to share with you guys my most updated version of Tien, because honestly I think Tien is criminally underplayed. You hear me talk a lot in meta breakdown videos about how green is the worst color in the meta at the moment. It's just not performing very well and it's not getting a lot of top cut representation. But that's not to say that green decks are terrible, right? Like, we have Reboot Gohan in best of 3 events, and we have Majin Vegeta doing some stuff in best of 1. Even Green Gotenks and Turles have top tier there, but it hasn't been very consistent. I just feel like not enough people are giving Tien enough attention because I think he's a really strong green deck. If you're not a deck like Majin Vegeta or Reboot Gohan where you have a very central theme, you're really trying to play green toolbox, and I think Tien lends a lot of good stuff to green toolbox, including some of the stuff that, you know, comes in his archetype and evolution booster. So we'll talk about that in today's video. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And if you guys want to help support the channel, go down in the description, use my link to TCG Player if you want to buy any of the cards you're interested in today's video. That being said, we'll get started right away. Not going to go over the leader. You guys probably know what he does. No real point to go over leaders and deck profiles. Kind of takes too much time. But anyways, the Awaken, really quickly, there is some nuance to that I do want to touch on with you guys. The whole token thing, it's obviously pretty different than most leaders in the game. You're gonna have to get used to games where, you know, the tokens aren't always gonna survive. You have green with Dorm Potential Unleashed, you've got Secret Identity Mass Sand that almost any deck can play that can wipe all your tokens, and even blue can hit all the tokens with God Sealing Technique Trunks. All those things can hurt. There are even a lot of games where, you know, you'll get the token effect to, you know, buff your leader on the Awaken side, getting that critical, getting that battle card removal. And throughout the course of the game, you know, tokens will naturally just die, right? Things like that will happen, and you kind of got to get used to the idea of playing without them. And trust me, you don't need your leader's full Awakened ability to win games. You have other cards in the deck that can carry you pretty hard. So I kind of wanted to get that out of the way. There is nuance to the whole token thing, but definitely get used to the idea of, you know, still being able to win without having all the tokens, and still like getting essentially a super combo when you're Awakened. Getting 15k worth of combo power just for Awakening is a really good skill, especially against a lot of aggro decks where you just need to combo them away. Again, get used to that idea of not always using your leader's full backside effect. But even with that being said, there are other ways to get TNs on the board to regain that leader skill. We'll see that as we go through the profile. Alright, so we're playing 2 Chaozu on a Reunion. The general rule of thumb with cards that, you know, leaders can search once per game is to play at least 2 of them, so you don't have the issue where they're stuck in your life, right? If you run 1 stuck in your life, you're kind of screwed. But in this scenario, we play 2. Same thing with Tien Shinhan trading moves. Chaozu pulls him from the deck, and you're really only going to resolve that once per game for the most part. So we want to play 2 just to make sure it's there. We're not playing the other Mercenary Tau stuff that goes along with trading moves. Even with the new Evolution Booster support, it just costs too much and takes too much setup. You have to kind of have too many specific things go right. So we're kind of foregoing that half of the engine. But because Chaozu is a free search every game, and off of him blocking or being removed by Bardock Unison, which we'll talk about in a second, you get a free 15k barrier body. It's a really solid engine. So the 2-2 split's been excellent for me. The Bardock Unison is an excellent unison in this meta. Just thinking about all the different decks this thing does really well against. King Piccolo, they pretty much live in the combo step, so Bardock Unison is excellent against them. You have all the new Arrival decks like Launch, Blue-Yellow Gohan, even Blue-Yellow versions of Mecha Frieza that really need to get cards in the combo area to arrive battle cards. Bardock punishes that super hard. It's just a really good unison, and now that the format's not hyper aggressive, like Red Broly's not running rampant, things like that, you don't really need Demigod Unison to go to Charismatic Villain turn 1. We're not playing Demigod in this main deck. I would heavily consider and recommend sideboarding it. But again, we're not maining it here. It just doesn't seem necessary, and Bardock helps so much in many other matchups. And with this particular engine right here that we're looking at, curving into Bardock Unison, just, it feels so good. It's so efficient. Pop Chaozu, make him pitch a card, you get a battle card out of that. So you've basically lost nothing, and they're losing cards. And just, you know, upticking Bardock, there are many great cards in the deck to continue to uptick Bardock, just like Trading Blows Son Goku. The fact that Tien is a world tournament leader and gives you access to this card, that just throws me over the top of this deck. I love this card. A 1-drop that does the inverse of most other 1-drops, which draw cards. It puts a lot of pressure on the opponent because early game, you know, sitting at, you know, 5 cards after charging, putting that pressure on them to go down to 4 is a really big deal. Again, plus upticking it with Bardock, it's great. If you can go for Trading Blows against some red decks, you'll go for Trading Blows turn 1 as opposed to Chaozu, because if the red deck can minus Chaozu, he won't get his full effect. So Trading Blows is a good alternative turn 1 play for that. But otherwise, throughout the game, you're just going to play Trading Blows when you have good opportunities to. Like a turn 3, when you've done Chaozu on 1, Bardock Unison on 2, and you have 3 open energy, and you don't want to quite tap out for a big play, Trading Blows is excellent to chip at your opponent's hand. It's really good. Son Goku Power of Legend is a more recent addition for me that I've been trying out, and it's been working really well. Like, doing this on that turn 1 where you don't play Chaozu, or even on that turn 2 where you activate Bardock Unison, it's been really solid. Just that early crit pressure, it's tough for a lot of decks to deal with. And we're playing 2 Kakunsa Feral Fury. This card's a little bit weird, but I do kind of like it. As far as green 1-drops go, it's probably the best generic one. Even though in this deck, you do chip your opponent's hand and bring them down below 8 pretty easily. If you ever miss your curve or your opponent's deck just, you know, rips through their deck and draws a lot of cards, Kakunsa can be clutch as a big double striker. But besides that, she's a draw one. She works with Bardock Unison. I do like her. If you wanted to save a couple bucks, you could probably play other 1-drops and you probably wouldn't miss it too much. This deck is not going to be super budget, unfortunately, as we'll see through the video. But yeah, I think it's a good 1-drop. Could probably be replaced with other 1-drops if you wanted to play, like, I don't know, Kami to punish untapping or things like that. Then we have what Tien really brings to the table, Goku and Tien long-awaited rematch. The long-awaited rematch combo is such a good engine, and other green decks could play it, but I think Tien just makes it the best well-rounded, especially because you get the free Chaozu every game, which gives you the Trading Blows, which is a barrier battle card, and you have to have at least one more battle card in play to put Goku long-awaited rematch into play for 1. And then by doing that, you have access to Tien Shinhan. The fact that Goku has barrier means that your Tien is always ready to go. You play him for 2 and you board up your opponent. It's such a strong play. The only thing it's a little bit weak to is Dark Broly because they play mostly 6-drops. But besides that, you know, green's kind of struggling against Dark Broly anyway for the most part. But besides that, it's such a good board wipe against the rest of the meta. I love it. Vegeta Resolute Agent Destruction is a really clutch one of that I've been playing, and I've really been liking it. Ignoring barrier for the board wipe is so insane. Getting rid of Violent Rush Bojack, getting rid of the Slug Engine, just getting rid of any problematic barrier cards has been so good. Tapping out for 4, really not that bad, because again, you have Dorm Potential, you have Frieza Charismatic Villain, you have ways to defend yourself for free, and there are actually even a few more we'll see in a bit. But yeah, it's such a good card. I've loved it at 1. Considered coming up to 2, but I think 1 on the main, 1 on the side is probably a good bet. That's what I would kind of go with in the future. All right, some more of our toolboxy stuff. We got 2 Rosy Blast Manipulator. Honestly, this card's awful sometimes and really good other times. It kind of just depends. Like, if you've done a good job of chipping at your opponent's hand and you play Rosie, she can feel really strong. But if, you know, the opponent's deck is kind of resilient to hand control, she's a lot less meaningful. But I have liked her at 2 for the situations that she does come in clutch and helps you kind of close out games. Triple attack, great for hitting unisons. Kakunsa Beastly Maiden is a card that a lot of green decks are dropping. I really like it. I was playing this more so for the Victory Strike turn 2 combo. I think there's still a turn 3 Victory Strike combo with some of the Evolution Booster support and the Cell Surge leader that doesn't play the green 8-drop Goku that got limited in set 13. But yeah, I think it still is a good negate in general, not just for the Victory Strike combo. I think just paying 2 to pop anything, basically stopping 2 attacks, is great. Homicidal Clones, this cycle of negates is absolutely incredible. I will say it's a little awkward in this deck because, like, when you dormant and then you want to use Homicidal Clones to follow it up and basically end your opponent's turn, you do get that token that loses blocker going into the next turn, so it can be just like a little bit awkward. Like, you'll do that in situations where you have to guarantee you live to go to the next turn, but other times you'll use Homicidal Clones without using dormant first. Like, to protect your unison, if you're at 5 life, use this, go down to 4 so you can awaken the next turn and your unison survives. Like, making Bardock survive is such a strong thing for this deck. Letting that card go to the next turn and keep ripping cards from the opponent's hand is so good. Then we have some of our end game cards. We got 4 Defending Father Paragus, one of the best super combos in the game. Of course, you play it. You could play like Bionic Blitz, but I'd rather cycle through my deck a bit more since we're already doing such a good job of hand controlling. You'll see Scientist Fu here, the big boy Scientist Fu. This is a card that I kind of revisited, and I've been absolutely loving it. Like, I don't know why this card ever really felt like I got power crept, because a 1 energy 7 cost Overrealm that draws 2, gives 25k double strike. You compare that to something like Bardock fighting against Fates. He's free and a 5k combo. Those are his biggest upsides, but getting draw 2 and doing the same amount of damage for 1 energy is great to me. And being a 1 energy 10k combo, I don't really care about that too much, because if it's ever dead, Paragus can ship it away, and we don't really want a lot of 10k combos in this deck, so I'm not really worried about clunking on those. I honestly think this is a great card. It's really nice that it's budget. You don't have to play fighting against Fates. I sincerely recommend this card. Cell Xeno, Secret spot's really flexible as usual. You could play Kai, you could play this, you could play Heroine's Lineage, which is a great budget alternative. Cell Xeno, I like it because in this deck your curve sets you up really nicely for it. The 3-drop Tien, the 5-drop Tien, and the 4-drop Goku. You should be able to hit that pretty much every game, so Cell Xeno becomes really easy to drop. But you know, against certain decks that can disrupt your board pretty easily, Celdino is not the best. So Heroine's Lineage and Kai could be great alternatives. Possibly even Smoke Dragon if you're doing a good job ripping their hand and playing Smoke on 5 to rip the rest of their hand. That could be good. But yeah, I'd recommend this, Kai, or Heroine's Lineage as a good budget version to this or Kai. And then, guys, the last slide here, the more expensive cards in green. Yeah, it's super unfortunate, but pretty much every color at this point has a really expensive staples. It's kind of just a fact of the game right now. Game's definitely cheaper though than like set 9 format, for instance. So that's a pretty good space to be in. We'll see how that kind of shifts and fluctuates as the sets continue to come out. And yeah, Master Roshi will have to change going into set 13. Definitely, this is much more of a set 12 build. But yeah, I mean, this stuff, you kind of just play it. I love Fusamasu in this deck because it really is a mid-range green deck, so just playing that for one on like turn 3 or 4, chipping your opponent's hand away, it's felt really good. But overall, guys, that's the list I wanted to share with you. I think this deck is really good. I think Tien's really good. Could maybe make a resurgence for green. But I do want in the comments below what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.